I need that off. It's starting to echo all around. Thank you. Hey guys, trying to see if everybody's got sound. I see Douglas still is not hearing us.
No, it's working now.
Is it working now?
It's delayed like 30 seconds.
Okay.
So you're good to go.
So Douglas, you might want to just reboot or turn your sound up, because we do have confirmation that we're getting out on our microphone. So let me know if you. Yay! Great! Yay! Hi guys! Welcome to the first Culinary Wine Questions webinar. I'm Kirsten Fox, and I appreciate your patience as we go through this, what will probably be slightly less than technically perfect webinar. I do have my husband who's right by here helping me as he's watching to make sure we know what's going on. So, oh good, Douglas, you've got sound, and great. Hi Amato, awesome to see you. We've got some people from a company called Wine Awakenings, and they're listening in. They do wine aroma kits to help you learn about wine. So for example, if you want to understand the aromas that people find in wine, in Cabernet, for example, they have a kit that you can actually order to get the typical smells that you would find in Cabernet. So thanks to all you Wine Awakenings people out there. So I'm going to share my screen, I think. Here we go. Do we have? All right. Well, we are going to cover 3 different things today, very quickly, not a long webinar, but we're trying to talk about how what we're going to do today and what you're going to walk away with. So the takeaways I'm interested in conveying to you today are: 1, why do we swirl wine in our glasses? 2, what is the proper way to even swirl wine? And 3, after swirling, what do the legs tell us? So we're going to move into that now. A little bit about me quickly, what my story with wine is. When I started drinking, I was at Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was a server, although here I'm obviously at a party with one of my friends. I wasn't into wine. In fact, wine scared the heck out of me, and you're not seeing that. Let's see if we can fix this. So let's see if you guys can see my slideshow now. No? Okay, hello, back to me. All right, so anyway, I'll just tell you a story. In fact, I think I need a little wine for this, so hold on. All right, what I'm drinking today is a Klein Ancient Vines Mourvedre, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but this is about the right time to start pulling this out, I think. So let's see how this tastes. Very nice. Nice finish in the mouth. It's got a really earthy kind of character to it. We'll talk about that later. So I started in Nashville serving wine at restaurants really reluctantly because I didn't want to. Is someone asking me what time it is because I shouldn't be drinking right now? Is that what you're asking, Amato? Because it's 1:30 and what the heck, it's lunch. So there you go. I served at a the West End Cooker. It was a restaurant, and I could not stand it when people would order wine, particularly bottles, at a table, because I literally had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to open it. I didn't know what they were asking for. It was terrifying to me. So I would typically launch into made up stories about some recent cowboy or country western singer who'd been into the restaurant and who had perhaps ordered a strawberry daiquiri or a Mai Tai or something else, so that I tried to entice the table to order cocktails instead of wine because I didn't want to serve it. So fast forward, I actually really fell in love with the subject when I started to teach about it at my sister's store here in Park City, Utah, and then opened Fox School of Wine, where we did classes for the public. And I started to hear from guests and students that they were at restaurants and didn't get good service, or were really frustrated with this or that. And so eventually in 2012, I opened the Culinary Wine Institute and have had fun doing that since 2012, helping restaurants and their servers and management really make more profitability out of wine. So since you guys can't see the slides, let's see. Let's just go ahead and I'll move into why I'm giving this webinar. I'm giving this webinar because I love independent restaurants, and I want to help them stay in business, which basically means, since restaurants are on such little tiny thin margins, typically, the difference between staying open and closing might be just having a more successful approach to their wine program. So this is, let's see, Douglas suggests that the time is wine 30. Thank you, Douglas, for that. So we're going to get started on what the deal is. Why do we even swirl? So we swirl because as the liquid sits in the glass there's only so much surface area, and it is only evaporating at a set amount of alcohol molecules and water molecules in that per second. So it's kind of sitting there. If you swirl, you actually are increasing the surface area of the liquid, and at the same time you're generating air by the liquid, which helps the alcohol to evaporate. And then with a wine glass, with a bowl of the wine glass, the aroma molecules that have risen off the surface of the liquid are actually trapped in this round shape. And then the typical top of the glass is tapered so that it holds those aroma molecules in there for as long as possible before they're released into the air. So I'm swirling, I'm increasing the molecule evaporation into the bowl of the glass, and then I'm able to smell much more of the aromas in the wine. So that is why we swirl. So now let's talk about the proper way to swirl, because it can be kind of daunting if you don't know what you're doing. So I swirl basically before almost every sip, because for me, as long as I don't have a cold or something, I'm getting so much information from my nose. About 80% of the information from the wine is coming through your nose and the back of your throat. So I swirl like this before almost every sip. I'll go in, take a smell, take a sip, and then enjoy the wine. So that is how I swirl in the air, and I've done it a bazillion times, so I'm pretty good at it. Now, another way to do this is to put it on a table. We'll just lower that down there. Put it on the table, grab it between a couple fingers, and just swirl. You might call this the bar swirl, like you're sitting there and you're trying to look all sexy and, sultry at the bar, and you're just gonna sit there and swirl your wine. So sometimes easier to start with your wine on a table like that versus in the air where you're holding it up. Particularly dangerous if you get the glass too full. And maybe you want to start with white wine if you're practicing the swirling, because boy, I have definitely become overzealous in some of my swirling and had some problems. So that's how we swirl. And if you guys have any questions while we're on this webinar, just go ahead and type them in, and I'll go review the questions right before we leave during the Q&A. So if you have anything that comes up, go ahead and type it in. I probably will not be addressing it right as I'm talking, but in the Q&A, I will address those questions. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed this, but as I was swirling this, there are legs or tiers coming down the side of this glass. In fact, it almost looks like cut glass. I'm going to get a piece of white paper and show you what that looks like in my glass. See those tiers coming down? You can even see color in the tiers as they're slowly coming down the glass. So those tiers, or some people call them tiers, some people call them legs, they are basically indicative of one of two things: either a high sugar content, which high glycerol, it's going to make it more dense and viscous, or it's going to be a high alcohol content, because water which is basically about 90% of wine. Water is the molecules are very attracted to each other. When you add alcohol molecules into water, such as a liquid like wine, it actually decreases the amount of attraction with the water. So what happens is when you're swirling the liquid on the sides of the glass and then the liquid falls away, the alcohol quickly evaporates, and all those little molecules of water that love each other are going like, and they start squishing up together again, and they slowly will fall down. So the more alcohol in there, the more the little water molecules are going to jam up together, and they're going to be slower as it comes down the glass. I mean, really, it almost looks like a cut glass here. So that is the two things. That's it. It doesn't mean that it's better wine. It doesn't mean anything about quality. It's just either high sugar or high alcohol content. All right, so what do we care about this in regards to restaurants? Because doesn't really, I mean, obviously a server's not going to sit down and swirl wine with her guests at the table. So what does this mean? Well, when you look at a bottle of wine, there always will be an alcohol percentage on it. It's required by US law. It has to have alcohol percentage on it to be sold in the United States. So when you look at that, you can start to get an idea of what the wine might be in the bottle. So this is Klein, as I said, Ancient Vines Mourvedre. And this has 15.5% alcohol in it. And basically, that is one of the highest alcohols in a table wine that I've ever seen. In fact, 14% is supposed to be the highest alcohol content in a table wine that you're supposed to be able to see on the shelves in the US liquor stores. If you go over that, over 14%, it's supposed to then get into a liqueur category and be taxed at a different rate. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but 14 is a guideline, not a rule. In fact, they allow 1.5% plus or minus. So 15.5, we're still looking here at a table wine that's taxed at table wine prices. So you could see that this is going to be a much bigger wine in the glass because that alcohol is so high. Amato, oh great, Amato has a great point. He says too many people hold the wine in their hand and like this, and number one, it's harder to swirl, but number two, you're getting fingerprints all over this beautiful bulb, which takes away from the ability to enjoy the wine visually. And it's just becomes, I'm sure you've seen it at the end of parties, becomes all smudged and everything else. So that is why one of the reasons we hold it by the stem. Thank you, Amato. So when you're at a restaurant and you're serving or you're managing people, and we're wondering what's in the glass, what's in the bottle. Look at the alcohol percentage. If it's high, it's going to be viscous, more thick, more rich and dense in the mouth. If it's low, it's going to be lighter and not going to have that dense feeling in your mouth. And what that means is when you pair foods, you go like with like. So higher alcohol should probably go, those wines are going to go with a denser, fatter, more rich dish, and the lower alcohol is going to go with a lighter dish. So that's how it would help you at your table. So you're here because you're in the industry, you are looking forward to making more money or helping your staff or really gaining some better knowledge so you can be more confident in your skills. So I'm really committed to you, and I'd like to make an offer for you. I have a book that I've written called The Profitable Wine List. A gentleman who's on the call here today named Amato was actually quoted in the book. And it really covers the 3 steps that I have found successful to help restaurants gain control of their wine program and become more profitable. So it's currently available on Amazon for $19.95, or I think it's $18.25 if you're a Prime member, plus shipping and tax. And so I'm going to try to give you an offer here. We'll see what happens. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to put this up right now. We'll see if you can see this. So what I'd like to do is offer you my book for half off. So it's $10. And I will not only give it to you for $10, I'll pay you tax, I'll pay your shipping, and I'll sign it for you. And I would hope that that would help you in your endeavors to take control of your own personal wine service or the service at your restaurants. So that's good. We're going to leave, I think I can leave that up there while I go back to chat. And I'll see if anybody has any questions as we're going along here. So fire away with your questions if you have them. And let's see how everybody, I think there's a little bit of a delay here. So I'm not sure when you're typing, if I'm seeing it immediately or when I'm typing or answering, you're seeing it. Okay, Beth is asking, she's asking, what does the shape of the glass have to do with the swirling? And that's a really good question because we hear so much about the shapes of glasses and what they do. So thank you, Beth. The aroma molecules actually have different densities. So fruit and floral aromas are going to have a lighter weight molecule associated with them than the heavier forest or alcohol or oak types of aromas. So glasses, this is Riedel, they started it. Riedel started trying to develop glasses that in essence would help you enjoy the specific aroma characteristics from the wine that was poured in that glass. So in this case, this is just a standard glass. It's very simple and doesn't have a lot of curves in it, but you may have seen ones that come up and then they go in and then have a little tulip type of a shape and that kind of thing. It's all associated with helping those aromas that they want to stand out in the wine, that type of wine, become more or less pronounced based on where the shape will throw it into your nose. So there we go. Any other questions? This is our first one. I think we're wrapping it up. So let's see. If you want my book for half off, click now. I think, can you guys still see the offer? Can you still see the offer? Oh yeah, okay, good. So you can still see the offer, so click on that now, and then I haven't committed yet, but I'm going to be intending to be here every week, same time, 1:30 on Thursdays, and we'll be covering next week. I'm doing why do red wines go better with foods why do red wines go better with winter foods? What is that? So we'll get there next time. So if you want that offer, go ahead and click on it. It'll open in a new window, I think, and you'll be able to take advantage of that before the webinar closes. And I sure appreciate you guys coming to my first webinar. We'll get a little better technically next time. And cheers to you. Bye.